Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to tell you why having a deep, narrow niche is the best way to make money and succeed in business. I'm Bryan Elliott, welcome to another edition of Behind the Brand. Let's go. In my production company business, I meet with a lot of clients and we usually start with a creative brief. One of the biggest problems I see is that clients don't know what business they're in. Remember that scene from The Founder with Michael Keaton and BJ Novak? Cut to clip.
So, to summarize, you have a minuscule revenue stream.
No cash revenues. An albatross of a contract that requires you to go through a slow approval process to enact changes, if they're approved at all, which they never are. Am I missing anything?
That about sums it up.
Tell me about the land.
The land.
The land, the buildings, the whole aspect, how it works.
Well, it's pretty simple, really. A franchisee finds a piece of land he likes, takes out a lease, usually 20 years, takes out a construction loan, throws up a building, off he goes.
So the operator selects the site.
Yeah,
He picks the property.
right.
You provide the training system, the operational know-how, and he's responsible for the rest.
Is there a problem?
A big one. You don't seem to realize what business you're in. You're not in the burger business. You're in the real estate business. Knowing what business you're in is super key. Another big mistake I see is when I ask clients, who's your target market? Who's your target audience? And sometimes they'll say something like, well, everyone on the planet could probably be our client. Our product is broadly appealing and everyone should own one. Well, ideally that might be the case, but it's probably not realistic. The problem with trying to be everything to everyone, as you know, is that you'll probably be nothing to no one. Is that even proper grammar? I'm not sure. My friend Seth Godin has talked a lot about this, and the best thing you can do is really niche down and get specific. He suggests we start with two basic questions. Number one, who's it for? And number two, what's it for?
What marketers do is we decide who we are seeking to change, who's it for, and what's it for. And I'm amazed at how often people don't even consider this. They think they're making average stuff for average people, and if they just yell about it enough, then their Kickstarter will hit $19 million. Well, yeah, every once in a while a Kickstarter needs to do that, but almost none of them do. That the truly successful ones, or the truly successful online stores or local bakeries, or the person who's trying to raise money for their charity, are specific. I don't think we need to be altruistic, but I think we need to be sumtruistic, meaning we are true to some people. For some people, they can't believe how great this thing we made is. For some people, they would cross the street to get it. And if I go down the list of modern brands, that is true for all of them. The Procter & Gamble, Unilever brands, not so much, because they own shelf space and they own acres of TV. The TV's getting too expensive. They could probably hold on to the shelf space for a while to come. But that's not most of us. Most of us are not sitting there saying, Crystal Light, Crystal Light, Crystal Light. Because the fact is, there aren't that many people who are bound up in the story of Crystal Light. But if you wanted to build an important new brand, if you want to grow the brand you've got, you can't use the old technique because we know it doesn't work anymore. And so what can you do to make a bigger impact? Which is you can be sumtruistic, you can be obsessed with some people and make them so happy to hear from you that they open your email, that they call you on the phone, that they wait in line to see you at the booth, that they tell their friends and tell their friends and tell their friends. That begins with someone caring enough to have the grit to say we're going to make good stuff, not lousy stuff.
Okay, this seems like a no-brainer, right? None of us starts out trying to make average stuff for average people. But that's what can happen if we start sliding down the slope towards trying to please everyone. It just won't work. Two quick examples. The first one is the Honda brand. You know, the people that make the cars. So what do you think? Did Honda build a niche brand or not? Fun fact about me, I did a study abroad in Japan and really loved it. I fell in love with the food, the culture, the whole thing. In fact, quick shout out to Marie Kondo. Kondo-san, すいません、お忙しいところで。これは僕のインビテーションです。いつかここで話しましょうよ。でもし、優しい日本語で話してくだされば、僕なんとなく頑張ります、日本語で。実はビデオを作ることは僕の喜びです。まあ、とにかくよろしくお願いします。Japan will always feel like my second home, and later Honda would become my client. And I've been to Tochigi, where Honda has their big R&D facility, and I've done a bunch of work for them here in Southern California as well. I love the Honda and Acura brands. I've owned Hondas for years, and I especially love the Acura NSX.
Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the first ever Acura NSX.
I think it's a super interesting car. Came out in 1990. And the Acura brand is one of those brands that still struggles with their identity a bit. The NSX, if you haven't seen it lately, is like if a Corvette and a McLaren had a baby. But it's uniquely Japanese, and it's actually uniquely Honda, I think. It's a little pricey. Some of the critics will say, you know, for $160,000, twin turbo, 3.5 liter V6 all-wheel drive, maybe the car geeks would say, oh, I'd rather buy a Lambo or a Porsche. When I drove the NSX, I really felt the Japanese engineering, the attention to detail, and especially compared to the McLaren, which I've also driven, the McLaren feels like this raw, amazing race car just made for the track. It's bare bones race car, and you know, it literally lurches off the pavement when you drive it. The NSX is smooth as butter. It's also sophisticated. I mean, it's a supercar and a technology masterpiece at the same time. So did Honda blow their chance to carve out a deep niche as a race-inspired brand, being known for selling a ton of these reliable Honda Accords? To me, Mr. Honda is a cross between Carroll Shelby and Elon Musk. He started this little motorcycle brand that grew into the Honda Motor Company, which eventually started making cars, and he competed with Toyota, who at that time, I think probably Honda felt like Toyota was making average cars for average people. I mean, they were mass marketing Toyota cars, and Honda was this little challenger brand. By staying creative and being innovative, Honda has produced products like jet airplanes and this little Asimo robot that maybe you've seen, and they continue to innovate and carve out niches under this huge, big brand umbrella. So it is possible. So Elon Musk and the Tesla brand are doing this as well. Look no further than the recent Cybertruck launch. Why do you think that design is so audacious? I mean, it's super polarizing. People hated it, people loved it, but it didn't look anything like a conventional truck. So in my opinion, making an electric truck that looked like maybe a Ford F-150 wouldn't convert many Ford, Chevy, or Dodge owners anyway, because they're already fans of the brand they own, and they're probably, you know, have owned several different models and don't plan to switch in the future. They're super loyal to it. Tesla is looking for a new innovator or early adopter customer, appealing to the idea that Seth talks about, where people like us do stuff like this. And what does that mean? In other words, people who buy Teslas and believe the future is electric, or people who believe in questioning the status quo like Elon Musk, or being irreverent, or believe that technology can change the world. So Elon doesn't need to convince the unconvinced masses. He just needs to convince the right number of people who are willing to follow him to the ends of the earth, to pre-buy an outlandishly designed Cybertruck, to produce them, and off he goes. The idea is to shun the non-believers, and this is a super important but difficult thing to do.
I was really fortunate before his illness, and then when he passed away, I got to be on stage once with Zig Ziglar, one of my teachers. And it was 10,000, 12,000 people actually it's more than that, in a big stadium in Milwaukee. And backstage I said, so tell me, Zig, what do you do about that guy in the third row who's asleep? Like, because I'm standing up there, and I've flown halfway across the country, and I've practiced this thing, and that guy, he's asleep, or he's not paying attention.
Yeah.
I said, and Zig, I'm giving him everything I've got. I'm aiming all my photons and tachyons at him, and he's just not responding. And I can't do Zig's voice anymore, but Zig turned to me and he said, it's not for him. It's that woman sitting next to him on the edge of her seat, the one who's came a long way to hear you speak, the one who's listening to what you're saying and is going to do something. It's for her.
Yeah.
Don't take it away from her and give it to this guy. He doesn't deserve it. It's for her. And once we learn to shun the non-believers, once we learn to be comfortable enough to say, it's not for you, then we free ourselves up, because no one can make something for everyone. No one. There's no product that everyone wants. So you can either spend all your time trying to get the last person to like you, or you can say, I'm sorry, it's not for you. I'll go talk to these guys instead.
But look at Tesla's soaring stock price. It's a reflection of the market's confidence in Elon's ability to lead people to go narrow and deep on this niche. And now Tesla Motors is worth more than Ford, Toyota, Mercedes-Benz, the whole of them. I mean, in a very short amount of time, he's been able to completely capture the market and dominate. So I see this on YouTube too, people niching down and really getting specific about their content. I'm a big fan of Thomas Frank, who talks about all things productivity. I think he's done a great job. Or Annie D, who just started her YouTube channel just a little while ago and has taken it from like 0 to 50,000 subscribers in a very short amount of time. Her niche is teaching small YouTubers and new creators how to grow their channel quickly, how to optimize, how to do brand deals, the whole thing. She's done a fantastic job. Great job, Annie. Keep up the good work. There's also people like Jesus Ramirez, who's an artist and master of the Adobe suite, but chose to hyper-focus on being the go-to Photoshop guy. In fact, he helped me remove the actors from the screenshots used in my green screen cameo earlier. Jesus is an amazing teacher and is one of a handful of non-Adobe employees who travels the world speaking and teaching, as well as helping the team improve Photoshop for the rest of us. Check out his Photoshop training channel. It's awesome. You could also be like Tony Maslish, who after a back injury dedicated his life to helping people live more in comfort. His latest creation is a masterpiece, the X Chair, and in my opinion, Herman Miller should be worried because it's better, and the most comfortable ergonomic chair I've had. Tony's singular focus to comfort for the end user is why he's going to win. So what is your niche? What are you good at? Let's end this here where we first started and go back to the two fundamental questions. What's it for? Who's it for? As soon as you know who you're talking to, it's much easier to figure out what to say. And when you know how to serve these folks, whether you're teaching something new or selling a product or service, or maybe you're just establishing yourself as an expert in this category, I promise you that good things will happen when you niche down and focus on the minimum viable audience. That's it for now. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.
I mean, we were just sitting back, chopping it up, reminiscing about the good old days and all that. Tracking my roots, where I came from and where I'm going. But like I say, man, always said it. It's not about the destination. It's all about the journey. Ain't nothing changed but the weather. The dangling carrot that hang from the rear view. Your dreams in the past ain't nowhere near you. Backseat drivers got nothing but 2 cents. Shotgun riders too biased, they all liars. I should get an A for effort, I'm too tired. But I'm never giving up, that's why I'm kinda admired. Role model, like it or not, I gotta play it.